Hey everybody, and welcome back to your Pennsylvania Dutch Minute. I got another viewer request here. Someone wrote in an email asking if I'd do a quick video on terms associated with the sport of baseball. And I have to be very upfront. When we talk about things like sports, the Pennsylvania Dutch language oftentimes does not have words for those English terms, and this is going to be an example of a video where that's the case. Baseball, even though it's been around for a really long time in the United States, of course, and it being our national sport, you would think, well, the Pennsylvania Dutch must have words for some of those things, but to be perfectly honest, we don't. I'm going to give you some words that do mean those things, like the verbs particularly. I mean, we have verb words for that. But as you'll see when we go through these, go through the terms, there's going to be times where I'm going to say there is no Pennsylvania Dutch word, and we would just use the English word. And maybe that sounds as a cop-out to some of you, but it's just the way the language is. The newer the terms, oftentimes there aren't Pennsylvania Dutch words, so don't be mad. These are instances where if you were talking Pennsylvania Dutch and you were talking about baseball, you would probably be using a lot of English loan words in there, and that's just the way the language is. So it's not a fault of the language, it's just the way that it is. So anyway, enough about that. Let's get down to it and at least teach you some words that we can use and you can practice. So the word for baseball itself, again, we're using the English word, but maybe you might hear people pronounce it with a little bit of a Pennsylvania Dutch accent, but it's baseball. Baseball. I mean, English, you would say baseball. Maybe you'd hear a Dutchman say baseball, something along those lines. As far as the positions go, I can't give you a word for infielder or outfielder or shortstop or second base. We don't even have a word for base, really, that I'm aware of. So those, the terms for positions, you would all just use the English word. However, there are three positions that I can give you where I can give you at least a Pennsylvania Dutch word for it, but to be perfectly honest, I don't know how many Pennsylvania Dutch speakers would actually use these like these, but you could. So we'll start with the word for pitcher, and for pitcher we would use the word schmeisser. Schmeisser, which literally means person who throws, or a thrower, which is what a pitcher does, a schmeisser. Same way with a catcher. Again, most likely the average Pennsylvania Dutch person would just say the catcher, but we could say fanger, because that's a person that catches something, so fanger. So the word for batter, we could use the word schlaage, which means somebody or something that hits something. There is the word in Pennsylvania Dutch for a ball. If you just wanted to say the word for ball itself, it's balle, okay? And baseball glove, or glove, when playing baseball, we could say baseball hensching, and you knew hensching from one of our videos on clothing. Hopefully you remember that hensching is the word for glove. A bat is, which will look familiar to you. You could use the word schlaage, something you hit something with. There's also the Pennsylvania Dutch word britsch, which is something that you use to strike something. So a bat. I mean, I guess you could use either one, but again, you might hear a Pennsylvania Dutch person actually just use the English word bat. Don't know. All right, and then I want to close out with three verbs that are used a lot when talking about baseball, and I'll give you the present tense and the past tense in parentheses. So the verb to throw in Pennsylvania Dutch, schmeisse, and the past tense, gschmisse, and that verb conjugates normally. The verb to hit, schlaage, in the past tense, gschlaage, again, conjugates normally. And then finally the verb to run, schpringe, in the past tense, gschprunge. So that's a short list. Again, my apologies that it's, I can't give you more words, but that's just the way it is. Like if you'd ask me, hey, what's ERA, earned run average in Pennsylvania Dutch? I would turn to you and say, we say earned run average, for example. There's just a lot of terms when it comes to sports in particular, other than the verbs, that we kind of talked about here, like run, throw, hit, kick. we have words for that, but when we're talking about, specific sports terms, we just don't have the words for it. So simply feel free to use the English. However, I will say that, the Pennsylvania Dutch, as a whole, I think we would consider ourselves baseball fans, the average Pennsylvania Dutchman. And given that we, our homeland is in southeastern Pennsylvania, the vast majority of us who have some good common sense, of course, are Philadelphia Phillies fans. That's our closest professional team. And in Berks County, I have to give a shout out to our minor league team, the Reading Fighting Phils. And for our Lehigh County people, well, I believe there's the Lehigh Iron Pigs, I think they're out near Allentown somewhere. So there are a lot of, baseball tradition is very rich among the Pennsylvania Dutch. So we definitely would play it and do play it, and it is a part of our entertainment and pastime. We just don't have the words for a lot of the stuff that we have in English. All right, if you're not a Phillies fan, I guess we'll let it slide. But you really should be a Phillies fan. Having said that, here's some words. Use them. Practice your Pennsylvania Dutch. If you have an idea for a future video, well, you got to email me. Feel free. I answer every email that I get. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please subscribe. You'll get an update every time a brand new video comes out. Feel free to check out my website, padutch101.com, and follow us on social media. You can find me on Facebook and on Twitter, where I do post things about Pennsylvania Dutch, along with other topics that I'm interested in as well. Till next time, Mox Good, and keep practicing your Pennsylvania Dutch.